This is VOA Africa.
Hello, I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. It's Friday, May 29th. This is Africa 54. Due to the global outbreak of coronavirus, Voice of America is taking every necessary precaution to safeguard its employees. So our broadcast will look a little different today and in the near future as we, out of an abundance of caution, reduce our staffing at VOA headquarters here in Washington. We're working to help keep you informed about what's going on, and we appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. We begin in South Africa, where the country's leaders are struggling to contain the coronavirus, which has infected more than 25,000 people with at least 550 deaths. Now there are growing concerns among some parents over the thoroughness of sanitizing the schools that are set to reopen on Monday. Some parents of 7th and 12th grade students are reluctant to allow their children back into the schools, and they say it's because current disinfection efforts are not enough to convince them it's safe. Work crews are now sanitizing schools in preparation for the planned reopening as the country slowly lifts lockdown measures. One parent is refusing to send his child back to school, claiming the government is yet to make protective gear available for children. South Africa is also allowing its economy to reopen on June 1st under eased COVID-19 restrictions. This includes mining and manufacturing, but some businesses that are considered high risk, such as hotels, hair salons, and sit-down restaurants, are to remain closed, according to Reuters. Elsewhere in Southern Africa, Namibia, which has not reported any coronavirus deaths, says it will ease some of its virus restrictions on Tuesday. Schools and restaurants will reopen, but non-contact sports and gatherings of up to 50 people at weddings, funerals, and other events is forbidden. Clubs, casinos, and gambling houses will also remain shuttered, according to Reuters. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, one young woman is helping women and orphans protect themselves from the coronavirus. Esther Githui-Ewart has our story.
Here in Kinshasa, campaigns to raise awareness against the spread of coronavirus are not scarce, downtown or around downtown. Now, how do we make sure that those who have no electricity, no water, or not enough money to reach the centers of knowledge still get the informations?
At a camp for widows and orphans outside the capital, market woman Christine Losa says they did not know what to do.
When they announced the disease had reached the DRC and the president announced the measures, it was scary. How and what would we do? We usually sell our goods downtown, and now downtown is quarantined. Plus, this disease has no face. How do we spot it? What is going to happen to us? Some women here, especially the oldest, were panicked, and all we had to soothe them with were our words.
There is no running water or electricity in this camp, where widows receive a monthly stipend of less than $20. So buying face masks or extra soap to fight coronavirus was a struggle. That's where Christela Kiakuba comes in. An orphan of military parents herself, she runs the aid group Telema Mwana ya Mapinga, or Stand Up Child of the Military.
How come our parents are ready to die helping protect our country, its territory, people, and riches, and at the end of the day, we are the poorest and most vulnerable and miserable? And poorest among the poorest, most astute among the most astute are the widows and the orphans.
The 26-year-old is visiting the camp with her team to distribute face masks and show people how to use them and how to wash their hands for the time it takes to kill the virus.
They talked about it on the radio, but we didn't actually get it. How to properly wash your hands, how to still wash our hands if we don't have soap. When the Mwana ya Mapinga people came and showed us, then we understood.
Elvis Sumbuka Nyomba lost his parents when he was a year old. He was raised in this camp by his grandmother and joined Kiakuba's aid group last year.
Today she came to give sanitary masks. Mind you, since the coronavirus outbreak, no one from any authority has set foot in this camp.
Kiakuba says so far, no one in the Widows and Orphans camp has shown signs of infection with the coronavirus. And that is all the more reason to stay vigilant.
Everything we do plays a role to raise awareness among public opinion and our leaders. For you know what they say. It is better to prevent something than to cure it. And that is what we are doing.
Kiakuba's work does not stop with the health campaigns. She also delivers food and offers legal help to widows and orphans of military and police personnel at 27 camps around the capital. Esther Githui-Ewart for VOA News, Kinshasa.
Lacking funds for a proper call center or refuge, Marie Lucasa and a small group of volunteers use their own mobile phones as informal hotlines in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, to help families reach medical, legal, or psychological care. It's difficult to gauge how many families in Congo are suffering increased abuse as a result of the indirect effects of the COVID-19 outbreak, which has infected 2,300 people and killed nearly 70 since the first case was detected in Congo on March 10th. Restrictions on movement and reduced access to help have resulted in a dramatic drop in the reported cases of violence against women and girls around the world, according to an analysis by the International Rescue Committee. Marie says her hotline used to get 5 calls per week. Now it's 10 per day. She adds that the next step would be to build a refuge to protect the victims and start the process of healing and getting judicial redress. In the rural Zimbabwe district of Weza, a new electric-powered motorcycle is helping bring income to poor women during the COVID-19 lockdown. It's also easing the burden of looking after families. Francis Maguire reports.
This woman in rural Zimbabwe has found a way to make life much easier during lockdown by hiring out an electric motorbike. It's part of a project being piloted by startup firm Mobility for Africa, where they lease out solar-powered bikes, known as Hamba, to groups of low-income women. It's particularly helpful for health workers like Pamidzai Matunya. She found some pregnant women walked 12 kilometers to the nearest clinic to give birth because there was no transport. But the bike has changed all that.
This Hamba motorcycle has made it easier for me to ferry patients to and from the hospital. We now have fewer cases of pregnant women giving birth at home due to lack of transport to the clinic, as was the case before.
Mobility for Africa said women pay around $15 a month as a group to lease the Hamba. It has a range of 100 kilometers and costs up to $1 to change the motorcycle batteries, which are charged at a solar-powered station. Fadzai Mavuna works for Mobility for Africa.
Women in the rural areas carry the burden of carrying firewood, going to fetch water to drink, and carrying school kids to the school. So as Mobility for Africa, we saw that we need to lessen the burden on women. So we needed to test with the women so that we can see if they can be able to do some productive work during the time by saving time and saving their income.
The bike means rural women can now carry farm produce to distant markets, bringing in some extra income during lockdown. Mobility for Africa is now in the second phase of the pilot project for the Hamba, before it can go commercial.
That was Francis Maguire of Reuters reporting. Since the beginning of the pandemic, moms and dads have faced a full house filled with teleworking, cooking meals and entertaining children. Probably the toughest job is keeping the children occupied and happy. VOA's Caroline Presutti lives in a neighborhood where parents brainstormed to hold events to keep little minds and legs busy.
Children probably outnumber people my age in my neighborhood. So we're on a mission to keep them busy during these homebound times. One week we developed a fitness circuit. Here's what we taped onto our mailbox and instructed the kids to do the exercise head, shoulders, knees, and toes for 10 times before they moved on to the next mailbox exercise. When a neighbor's dog gave birth to 8 puppies, we all watched live on Facebook. And then the owner started holding homeschooling classes each week, weighing in the pups and asking kids to create a chart with their weight and their length. And then she'd ask them math questions over Facebook. One night, a group of us all stood in the cul-de-sac 6 feet apart. And somebody said, "Are we ready?" And another person knocked on a door. And the mom came to the door, a bit apprehensive, because remember, it was dark. And we all started singing. She said it was the greatest birthday gift ever. It's graduation season here. So we created a parade for one college graduate, lining up in cars and driving past her house, honking our horns, hanging out of windows. I'm not sure what we're going to do with the high school graduates, but those graduations are right around the corner. I don't intend to minimize the pain or the suffering caused by COVID-19. That's real. But what we wanted to do in this neighborhood was to lift everyone's spirits and to shield the children from the worst news. Lately, someone's been leaving behind painted rocks with messages, with thoughts like, "We will travel again," and "Smile." Great thoughts for all of us to embrace from behind our closed doors. I found this one today. It says, "Believe." I gotta go now, so I can leave it along the trail again for someone else to ponder. Be safe out there. Carolyn Pursuti, VOA News, outside of Washington, D.C.
Some Nigerian tailors and designers are being creative with their fashionable face masks by adding glamour and style to health and safety. When authorities eased lockdowns earlier this month, it made the use of face masks in public places mandatory. Timothy Obiezu examines how some Nigerians are choosing to wear face coverings with flair.
Nigerian fashion model Pamela Uchechukwu is facing the coronavirus pandemic with style, adding personalized face masks that match her clothes.
I try to look different from other people because I feel very happy when I go out. People admire me, people like what I put on. So that's why I try to wear something that will look good on me, that will go with my outfit.
But it is not just fashion models who want to look good while taking precautions against COVID-19. A growing number of Nigerians are keeping designers like Ifeoma Anyanwu busy.
Just because we want to be safe, it doesn't have to be boring. Like we said, this is the new norm. So if it's a new norm, we have to adjust. And the only way to get people to take it seriously is to inculcate it in their everyday lives. You know, we've got bankers, we've got professionals, we've got doctors, we've got entrepreneurs. So how do you want them to go wearing the doctor's mask?
Nigeria, like many countries, mandated the use of face masks in public to help stop the spread of the virus. Designer Oluwaseun Adeoja notes that even before the pandemic, face masks were used on occasion in Nigeria's fashion scene.
I don't think it's a new thing. It's been on the fashion show, but people didn't really take it serious. Just the fashion face mask, not the one that can actually protect you from the virus. So now I think we're embracing it now more than ever before because of the coronavirus, and everybody is looking for a way of protecting themselves and also looking fashionable.
Promoting fashionable face masks during a time when people should be social distancing has raised some eyebrows. But the Nigerian Health Ministry's Public Health Director, Josephine Okechukwu, says their main concern is not how face masks look, but that they are effective.
We know that COVID-19 is a respiratory infection, right? So when we are wearing the face mask, as long as this microorganism, which is the coronavirus, does not pass through the face mask you are wearing to infect you, I think it's safe enough.
Nigerian designers say their washable fashion masks are not only safe, but also make a statement. And like most fashion, they also help self-confidence, a boost most welcome with the uncertainty of COVID-19. Timothy Obiezu for VOA News, Abuja.
We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the discussion on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our broadcast live on Facebook. Please watch and share our show with your friends. Also check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Still to come, a South African youth choir puts a spin on an American classic. We'll be right back after this break.
high, high, you just high, high, high. Nina ukani luka buseni, nachimweo kapena ni malaria.
Baba, when you walk away, I wanna make you my woman. I don't wanna waste no time. I say, hola, my mama. You know I'm wanting you. I say, hola, big mama. Can I be the one for you? Tell me, where did you come from?
Welcome back to Africa 54. Like many expectant mothers, makeup artist Mary Mwihaba was delighted to learn that she would be welcoming a new child into the world. But when Mary lost her job during the pandemic, she was forced to tap into her creative talents to find inventive ways to feed her family. A coming joy wrapped in fears shows us Mary and her family's journey to discover new rituals and unanticipated ways to survive in a changing world. Barbara Santos produced this story.
Hiki kipindi kinanitisha sana, kwamba naogopa sana siku ikifika ya kujifungua. Usalama wa mtoto wangu kiukweli nina mashaka sana. Na kitu kingine ambacho kinanipa wasiwasi mkubwa sana ni pale ninapotumia usafiri wa umma, kwa sababu sina uwezo wa kutumia usafiri wa peke yangu. Kwa hiyo inabidi nishie usafiri. Sasa uwezi jua kwenye usafiri umepanda na mtu wa aina gani, kwa sababu corona huwezi kumwangalia mtu kujua huyu ana corona. Kwa hiyo njia zipo nyingi sana ambazo zinanipa wasiwasi. Natamani hata saa nyingine nisihudhurie kliniki, lakini haiwezekani. Inabidi nihudhurie kliniki kwa ajili ya kujua maendeleo ya mtoto wangu. Siku niko nyumbani, nakumbuka bosi wangu alinitumia message na kuniomba kwamba nipumzike kipindi ambacho ili janga ndo lilikuwa limeingia. Kiukweli ilikuwa ni ngumu sana kupokea ile situation. Nilijaribu kujenga urafiki kuwa naye karibu ili nijue ni kweli amenisimamisha kazi kwa ajili ya ili janga au amenisimamisha kazi kutokana na hali yangu. Kwa hiyo ilibidi tu nimuelewe na nielewa kwamba alinisimamisha kazi kwa ajili ya hali iliyokuwa ikiendelea, hali ya corona. Kunachangia maisha yazidi kuwa magumu sana, hasa kwa hii hali, kwa sababu mimi na mume wangu ndio watu pekee ambao nitegemeza familia yangu. Akifanya yeye kazi, nikifanya mimi kazi, tunakula. Lakini sasa kwa hiki kipindi wote tumesimama kazi na tuna familia. Watu inabidi wale, watoto inabidi waishi, na watoto wenyewe tulionao ni wadogo. Ni ngumu mtoto kuelewa, mtoto anataka kula. Tunaishi vipi? Kwa ni hali ambayo ni ngumu kiukweli, tuna hali ngumu sana. Save pesa, kwa sababu pesa tulizokuwa tumezisevu zote zimeisha kutokana na situation iliyopo. Lakini kwa upande wa chakula pia imebidi tubadilishe system ya ulaji. Kwa mfano, tulikuwa tunatumia chakula kilo 1, lakini imebidi tupunguze nusu ya kilo 1 ili tuendelee kujikimu na maisha, kwa sababu hatujui hili janga litaisha lini. Napenda sana kufanya kazi na misi sana kufanya kazi. Kazi ina mchango mkubwa sana katika familia yangu. Kazi ina mchango mkubwa sana katika maisha yangu na hali niliyokuwa nayo. Bila kuwa na kipato, siwezi kuendesha maisha yangu mimi pamoja na familia yangu. Kwa ni kitu ambacho kinanipa wasiwasi sana. Haswa wote tuko ndani. Kama kwa mfano linaisha mwakani, huu mwaka tunapata wapi pesa ya kula? Tunapata wapi pesa ya kuhudumia mtoto ambaye ni mtoto mtarajiwa? Baada ya watoto wangu kusimamishwa kwenda shule kwa ajili ya janga hili la corona, nashukuru Mungu familia yangu pamoja na anko wao ambaye ni anaitwa Alexi alipanga ratiba kwa ajili ya watoto. Kuna muda ambao watoto wanapitia vitabu vya shule, kuna muda ambao wanajifunza neno la Mungu, kuna muda ambao wanaangalia TV, katuni, vipindi vya watoto, na kuna muda pia ambao tunakaa nao kwa ajili ya kuongea nao mawili matatu, kujifunza. Kuna kipindi labda nikiwa nimeshiba, nimekaa nimetulia, mtoto anakuwa anacheza. Sasa wakiona vile mtoto anacheza, yani wenyewe wamekuwa, yani kwao imekuwa ni faraja. Sasa yani muda wote utakuta wako karibu na mimi, wanashikashika tumbo, wanacheza, wanachezea tumbo, wanawishi sana muone ndugu yao kwa kweli. Sijutii kuwa na hali kama hii, wala sijutii chochote. Kikubwa ninamwomba Mungu, kesho yangu bado sijajua itakuwaje. Sijajua kutokana na hali yenyewe, sijui inaisha lini. Kwa bado naiwazia sana kesho yangu. Japokuwa natamani hii hali iishe ili niingie kupambana na maisha mengine yaendelee, ili tuweze kuzisaidia familia zetu.
With its borders closed due to coronavirus, Senegal's tourism industry has been halted for more than 2 months. Those working in the sector are eager for it to reopen. Here's Joe Davis.
In Senegal's Saloum Delta, hotel owner Lionel Lopez shows us his guests' favourite place to enjoy a drink. But it's been months since any have been served. With borders closed, West Africa's tourism industry has been put on hold since mid-March. And Senegal is a vacation hotspot. Tourism accounts for about 4% of their GDP. Lopez's 15 employees have survived on a reduced wage, thanks to an emergency loan from the government.
Countries where tourists come from have put in place restrictions. For example, France, which produces the most tourists coming to Senegal, clearly said people will go on holidays in France, so we won't have French people this summer. However, we are lucky to have an important customer base for the expat and the local community. We are waiting for the reopening on cross-region transport links in order to reopen the hotel. It is a good part of our income, 35 to 40%, and with that we will be able to reopen properly, hopefully in a month's time.
But others are not so lucky. Across the silent lagoon on Marlodge Island, women who used to earn up to $17 per day selling woven baskets and carved souvenirs are struggling to support their families. Amy Diouf is one of them.
We've not sold anything in 2 months in the village. That's our only work. Women do that and men work the land. With that, we can help out the family.
Even if international visitors are allowed to return soon, the over 2-month hiatus means tourist numbers this year will be far below the 1.7 million who holidayed in Senegal last year.
In our entertainment segment, the Ndlovu Youth Choir was one of dozens of top musical acts from Africa to perform for the Africa Day benefit concert at home, hosted by Idris Alba on May 25th. The choir's latest release puts a special South African spin on an American country classic. What began as a humble after-school music program in Limpopo province, South Africa, has now become an international sensation. First, on America's Got Talent, and most recently on the Africa Day benefit concert at home for COVID-19 families and children. Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell, along with Kwame Ofori, have the story with their song of the week, Jolene.
Hey, Esther. Hey, Kwame.
Hey, Heather. Hi, Esther.
So, you know, May 25th was Africa Day, and I don't know what all of you were doing, but I was watching MTV Base Africa. They had a 2-hour benefit concert of music groups from all over Africa for UNICEF to raise funds for COVID-19. And one of my favorites was that it was Idris Elba was the main host.
Oh,
but anyway, one of the groups that I saw that just blew me away, I'd never heard of them before, are from South Africa. It's a youth choir. They're called Ndlovu Youth Choir. And so I dug around and found that they've just released a new song, and it is based on, well, it's a cover of our beloved Dolly Parton, our American country and western singer. Nice. Yeah, the song's from 1973, but it's a classic. I really love the way that they dance. I mean, this is a choir, but it's also a dance choir. And I love the formations. I love the colors. And, you know, it was shot up in Limpopo province, which is where they're from in South Africa. Now, I've been up there in Limpopo, and it's one of the less developed areas of South Africa. So there's a lot of natural beauty. People are beautiful. They wear a lot of colors. But anyway, the choir itself was formed about 10 years ago, and I think it's really beautiful, not only musically and visually, but also because a lot of the kids in the choir have parents due to illness or other problems, and the purpose, the mission of the group is to inspire excellence and teach in kids the values of hard work, discipline, and striving for excellence.
I'm glad they are getting this prominence considering what they've gone through. And I know they got that kind of international recognition, firstly, when they came to the States to be a part of America's Got Talent. And I know I was reading somewhere that they've been signed to Sony Africa and also Simon Cowell's music label. So that's great for them. Huge, huge, huge opportunities right there.
Well, they deserve it. I'm Heather Maxwell.
And I'm Mr. Asante.
And that was Ndlovu Youth Choir with Jolene. And it was also Song of the Week.
And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a great weekend.